Good morning, beautiful angels in drag, spirit soul in drag, 100% pure spirit, formless, infinite bliss are us. All right. So let's just get things straight right from the get-go this morning, because we're going to have what is called a holy collapse. How do you like that, my dears? How do you like that? We're gonna we're gonna experience a holy collapse together this morning. Yep, a holy one. And I'd like to read this little quote from Krishnamurti. He's been in my my feed for a while now. He says, "To be free of the known." So a holy collapse is when you forget everything else, like even yesterday's drama and trauma, right, my dears? We forget that. He says, "To be free of the known." What you think you know. All right. Because that's thinking, is you think that you know something. That's really a serious addiction to thinking. To be free of the known is to die. To be free of what you think you know, my dears. Hmm. Your upbringing, your childhood, your grade school, your high school, your college, your career, you getting married or not, and so on and so forth. To be free of the known, to be free of the known is to die to everything of yesterday. All right. So this is what a holy collapse is, Ricardo. We're going to die to everything of yesterday, and we're going to begin anew today. And we have a great reading from Ramana Maharshi. All right. So to be free of the known is to die to everything of yesterday, so that your mind and my mind is always fresh, always innocent. No, seriously, but not seriously, lightheartedly. Just think of this for a moment. Oh, don't think of it, feel it. Words, you know, it was it was a disciple of Ramana that said these words. Everyone is still looking for words. This is what he says. It's Robert Adams, disciple of Ramana Maharshi. Everyone is still looking for words, but words are meaningless. Do you know all of our problems, all of our suffering come from words? Yeah, when you try to understand words, everything, everyone is still looking for words, though. Words are meaningless. When you listen to words, you're really taking the power away from yourself. I used to practice, and I still do. When I'm talking to somebody or someone's talking to me, I just love them. I don't try to understand them. I don't. I don't. I think love gives me the understanding of what who they really are, and this patience and and letting things be, just holding a beautiful attitude for this person. Yeah, when you listen to words, you are really taking the power away from yourself. You have all the answers. We have all the answers, my dears. This is why we need to practice holy collapse every day. We need to forget yesterday and begin with a new, innocent, fresh start today. We have all the answers. All we have to do, and this is nothing new, because we're not the doers, and you're going to learn about that today. All we have to so-called do, or allow God to do through us, is to be still long enough, and everything will be revealed to us. All right. So that's our little introduction this morning. I'm so I'm so happy that you're all here. Let me put you on my screen so I can welcome you properly with all my love, all my heart, actually God's love and God's heart. Tara, Sarah, Ricardo, Narayan, Marty May, Lynn Adams, Lori, Lisa, Jim Clark, Cami. Wow. You watch, I watch some sports. from time to time at the right times of the year towards the end when it gets interesting and playoffs and Super Bowls and whatever championships. I like it at that point. And but the reason why I'm mentioning that right now is that I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, but no, here's what I was going to say is that, if they have a good game, they win a big thing, then they say I couldn't do it without the players. Everything, some of them just put all their reliance on this team spirit, a spirit of core, the spirit of core. That's what we have. Tara, Sarah, Ricardo, Narayan, Marty, Lynn, Lori, Lisa, Jim, Cami. We have spirit of core. So we have a lot of trust built into this little stream of ours. If you show up every day to something that is opening your mind, opening your heart, that's a really good thing you have going on, my dears. We have a really good thing going on. All right. So having said all that and all those words, forget it. Forget it. Forget the words. Because now I'm going to begin this little post from Ramana Maharshi. And this is an angle that I think, well, it's what I call dependent living on God, not you know assisted living. No, complete dependent living on God. And the word is helpless. You're going to hear that word a lot. There even was a song, helpless, helpless, helpless. Yeah, yeah. That's what when you let go of what you think going to feel like in the beginning. You're going to feel helpless. Oh, that's so beautiful though, because that just leaves the doer, the real doer, to do through you, and you're just a vessel. You're just an instrument. As Yogananda said, someone, with my hands help thy children, speak thou through my voice, use my mind to inspire others. With my hands help thy children, speak thou through my mind, use my hands to inspire others, to inspire others. Loving Lord, loving Lord. And then he goes on just repeating, loving Lord, with my hands help thy children. Speak thou through my voice. Use my mind to inspire others. That's why we want to practice this holy collapse today and maybe stay collapsed. You'll see why. So if your eyes aren't already closed, close your eyes. If your heart isn't all the way open as much as possible, go ahead and open it. And if you are free from yesterday, if you have died now to yesterday and you don't remember a thing, I don't know. I don't remember yesterday. Do you? I hardly remember what I'd done already this morning. All right. So here we go, my dears. This is a pretty good sized reading. So just sit back and forget the words, forget yesterday, and die to everything you know. So it's a brand new start, fresh start as you sit here right now. You don't have any memory. You don't have any memory of the games you play with yourself, right? Of the strategies the ego mind thinking has with you. No, it's all released right now. So this is what Ramana says. God bless you all. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you get to listen to this with me. Lord, help us. Finally, Ramana says, finally, let's say you've been all your last 20, 2 decades, 3 decades doing your spiritual stuff, or longer, or less. Finally, my dears, Micah, perfect time to show up. You got all this love coming out from all of us right into your heart space. I hope you can take it. I hope you can receive all of it, Micah, and then some. Then behind that is the power of love itself, of the universe. Here greeting you, Micah. I was just saying, finally there comes a stage in our lives, my dears, when a person feels helpless. Helpless. notwithstanding, notwithstanding the sadhanas, meaning notwithstanding the efforts that you made and what you've trained yourself to be like and your meditation practice and trying to be a good girl and good boy and all that stuff, you start to feel helpless, unable to pursue this much cherished sadhana or spiritual practices that you have. You're not feeling it. You're unable to pursue what you cherish and what you've done decades, perhaps decades. You're unable to pursue the much cherished way that you go about your spiritual life. It is then, it is then when you are unable to feel that, why you've made all that effort, right? You don't feel it so much right now. It's a stage where you start feeling helpless around your spiritual path, your spiritual practices. He says, it is then that God's power is realized. Wow. It is then, when you're feeling helpless, Marty, that God's power can be realized. Wow. And it can be realized when practice collapses. Collapse it. I mentioned that word the other day. Collapse the old stories. Look at little Hap. Look at that, my Pyrenees doodle Hap. Their little head stuck out. There it is, next to Krishna's. When practice collapses into grace, my dears, when your practice collapses into what? Grace, God's grace. Isn't it all grace that you are aware right now, in a body right now, and so on? It collapses into grace. And there comes a point on this path, my dears, that no one advertises. You're not going to hear the pundits and the other many teachers and religions and so on and so forth talk about this because it takes their business away. if you find the true nuggets of your own divinity, right, it kind of takes the offering that you make at church every Sunday away, right? There comes a point on this path that no one advertises. It is not glamorous. It does not look like spiritual progress. It often feels like failure. Yeah, it often feels like failure. Can you just hold on for a little bit here? Hold on to your seat, hold on to your heart, hold on to God's hand while we listen to this morning, huh? Don't let it shock you. If it shocks you, let it shock you into a deeper helplessness, all right? And a deeper collapse into grace. It often feels like failure, my dears, this stage. The seeker who once felt inspired now feels emptied out. Now feels emptied out. When you once were inspired, now starts, or it happens at just a little increment. You start feeling emptied out. Where's that passion that I had? Where's that ability to get up first thing in the morning and meditate and sit, whatever, right? It's all been collapsed. The seeker once felt inspired, now feels emptied out. The practices that once brought comfort now feel unreachable. When you get a little comfort from a little meditation effort, right? Now they seem unreachable in this stage of helplessness. The will that once pushed forward goes quiet, so you can't even muster up your will, something you relied on for forever. Wow, really? These are things that, a lot of religions and teachers and masters will say, no, this is important, and it is part of it. This is a stage, my dears. This is a stage that we can practice now because we have a little maturity. We have a little maturity in our understanding of ourselves and the spiritual life and so on. The practices that once brought comfort now feel unreachable. The will that once pushed forward goes quiet. You do not stop because you are lazy, but because something deeper has stopped cooperating with the illusion of your control. We've been on this subject for a bit now, letting go of the controls, right? Because those controls, you having a say in the matter, it's those words that are meaningless. People don't want to hear it anymore. You don't want to hear it anymore. You just don't know it, right? Love is much better, is a much better feeling than thinking you have the answers to something, or you are in charge of something, or you are controlling something. So you don't stop your spiritual life, my dears, because you are lazy, but because something deeper has stopped cooperating with your illusion of control. Hands off, hands off, hands off the steering wheel. I once taught a class in yoga where you kind of have a chair, sit on the chair, but you're standing and you're sitting on the chair pose called the chair pose. And the lady, you're supposed to relax your hands. She was just like this. I said, you know what? You can release your hands. She said, oh my God, I'm always like this. So release, let go of what you know. It even rhymes. Let go of what you think you know, my dears. Maharshi names this stage without judgment. He calls it what it is: helplessness. Helpless, helpless, helpless. You might want to maybe find, I think it's a Neil Young song. I'm going to listen to it later. Yeah. Helpless, helpless, helpless. That's all I remember. This is where many people misunderstand the path. They misunderstand it when they start feeling helpless. You know what they do? They start thinking. They start thinking that something's wrong, right? We kind of maybe go on a guilt trip. I mean, we still may be doing a guilt trip, right? We still may be punishing ourselves if we don't do what we're supposed to do, right? The control that we think we have. This is where many people misunderstand the path, my dears, and they think that they are doing something wrong. They believe the loss of practice. I know this may cut against the grain a little bit this morning, but it's a radical life we live, my dears. Radical spirituality is what we're practicing here on the daily download of divinity, the sacred soul meditation, just housed in words, right? We show up and we see what is on our plate that God wants us to nibble at or completely swallow. They believe the loss of practice means the loss of spirituality. Yeah, check in with yourself right now. Do you believe the loss of your spirituality happens when you stop your practices? We might have a pretty good core belief around that one, right? Yeah. You don't show up for meditation. Where is she? Where is he? People may say or think, well, we don't have that power to care about what people think about everything, my dears. We only have enough what's on our plate that God has put in front of us right now. They assume that if effort drops away, they must be regressing. Sound familiar? Right? This is why you don't want to talk to anybody about your spiritual life, my dears. You really don't. Because everybody has a different take. They assume that if effort drops away, they must be regressing. But Maharishi is describing a holy collapse, a holy collapse. You know, everyone that's on the line right now, you could be doing on something else right now, but you're listening to this thing called a holy collapse. What are the chances of that? Why do you think this is? What does God want us to know? I'm getting a feeling that this is really important, at least for me, really important. And it makes me feel lighter and free as well, right? Let's see what else Ramana has to say. He's describing a holy collapse, the breaking down. Get a load of this. The breaking down of the false doer. Raise your hand if you feel like sometimes you're the doer. In this case, it's a false way to go about it. As you know, it's only one doer, and that is grace. The moment the vessel can no longer sustain the fantasy of your thoughts, the fantasy of your approach to spirituality, and so on and so forth, and everything that has been, told to you about things, right? Everything. The moment the vessel can no longer sustain the fantasy that it can reach the self through personal power. If you think you can do this on your own, really? No. When you sit down to meditate, when was the last time you asked God as you sit down and say, I need help? I need help with this. Then you start a practice of some kind, maybe awareness of breath, whatever. Did you ask for help with this breath that's coming in? It may help because you are in now a state of helplessness as a holy collapse, or you're going to give that angle, that approach of letting go of your tensed hands and tensed life and words galore, words, source of all our suffering. Words takes our personal power away. But we're not talking so much about that as to what Ramana has to say. So we no longer sustain the fantasy that we can reach the self, the soul, God's presence, whatever they have told us, through personal power. And this is the secret. Maharshi says, Ramana says, and this is the secret. Sadhana is essential, but it is not the source. Your practices are essential, but it's not the source of realization. Practice purifies. Think of it this way. Your spiritual efforts purify your attention. And when you have this attention, this awareness is another way to say that. It purifies your awareness. And practice weakens the grip of I, me, and my. So there's a reason for why we practice. Sure. It loosens the grip of me, my, I'm going to be doing this today. I got this list I'm going to follow up on today, and he's going to do this and whatever, right? It weakens the grip of the I, my, and mine. Practice trains the mind to stop worshiping thought. Yeah, yeah. Let's sit down and worship thought for about a half hour, right? If we're not careful, practice trains the mind, though, to stop worshiping thoughts. But practice does not create God. You could sit there and be still and do all those things that you maybe heard you need to do, but it doesn't create God. It does not manufacture truth, my dears. It removes the noise that blocks the recognition of what is already present. It removes the noise. That's good. So in Maharshi says that a person becomes unable to pursue even the cherished, my cherished practice, my practice, me, my practice, He is pointing to the moment, the striving mechanism, the striving, doing. I'm this, I'm that way. I didn't have a good meditation today. My mind's all over the place. Blah, 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 blah. He's pointing to the moment, the striving mechanism, that kind of striving mechanism collapses. You die, right? This is why you die to yesterday's everything you know. And even this morning, you die so that you're dying all day and see what kind of day you can have, right? Being helped, being walked, being fed with prana, being fed with some beautiful heart feelings, and so on, right? The vessel has reached its limit. Striving mechanism collapses. The vessel has reached its limit. It cannot climb another rung when we're helpless. It cannot grip the steering wheel any tighter. It cannot produce another spiritual identity to carry forward, another spiritual identity, another fake out, the false you, the doer, the false you, the doer. So you don't want to keep adding another spiritual false identity to carry yourself forward, my dears. The old engine stalls. The old engine's done. And that is not punishment, that is revelation. Yeah. Because the greatest obstacle to God's power, my dears, is not sin. Wow. It's not sin, my dears. It is not imperfection, my dears. It is the subtle belief that you are the one doing it. I'm telling you, you're on the right stream today. From my little vantage point, you're on the right stream today hearing this, my dears. If it ain't radical spirituality, what's it going to be? You faking yourself out? So listen, it's the subtle belief that you are the one doing it. It is the hidden ownership of your own awakening. You're owning, you're doing your own awakening. Really? Really? We've made this pretty dang tough for ourselves. Almost every devotee. This is part of the process, right? Everyone goes through this. Helplessness, my dears, is not the end of the path. Helplessness is the end of the false controller. Doesn't this make a smile on your face that you don't have to believe in yourself anymore in this kind of context that we're talking about? Helplessness is the end of the false controller in us. It is a surrender that is not chosen by the mind. See, the mind can't do this. It has nothing to do with it, but forced. It is a surrender that is not chosen by the mind, but forced by the reality, by the truth. The truth is kind of behind this, saying, "Hey, come on. There's many traps. There's many detours. There's dead ends on the spiritual path, kids. We gotta be super helpless." It is a surrender that is not chosen by the mind, but forced by reality. It is where the vessel finally admits. All right, can we take this moment up our stream this morning? We might go over a little bit because this is too dang good, in my opinion, my dears. It is where the vessel finally admits. So let's finally admit, if you want to, let's finally admit that what it has always been trying, the vessel finally admits what it has always been trying to avoid, that it cannot save itself, that it cannot enlighten itself, that it cannot become the self because it was never the self in the first place. Those are our old beliefs. That is why Maharshi says that it is then that God's power is realized, when we realize we cannot save ourselves, that we cannot enlighten ourselves, that we cannot become the self because it was never the self in the first place. That old notion, that if we have anything to do with anything, we're in a trap. So it's now really walking hand in hand with the Guru, who says, I'm always walking right by your side and protecting you with invisible arms. Now we can really hold on to that hand of God when we walk. We can ask for help constantly, my dears. So it's another angle, right? That just might sharpen the sword of your discrimination and your approach. Even after 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your efforts, we start in anew because we are about God's power, not our own. It's not as an idea, as a fact. Something carries you when you cannot carry yourself. Something remains when you cannot maintain your focus. There's something that is focused when you can't be focused. Something reveals itself when you stop trying to reveal it. What arises is not effort, but support, my dears. Divine life and love support. Not striving, but being held, being carried, being nurtured, being walked, being existed. Not attainment, but it's a recognition, right? It becomes obvious that the real is doing the real, and the vessel was only ever the instrument. With my hands help thy children. Speak thou through my voice. Use my mind to inspire others. Was some words from Yogananda's poem. So in your language, this is Brahma as intelligence reclaiming. In your language, this is Brahma, God, as intelligence reclaiming the center, Christ, self, Christ, Atma, shining without obstruction. Not the vessel trying to become holy. Thank God. Thank God that this vessel that God flows through. Uh, I'm just a hole in the flute, says Hafiz. I'm just a hole in the flute through which the breath of Christ moves through. Listen, listen, listen to this music of my soul. I'm just a hole in the flute, my dears. We're not the vessel anymore trying to become holy, but the holy moving through the vessel. You know what we're saying? This is a pretty good stream this morning, I must admit. Can you hang in there just a little bit longer? But the holy moving through the vessel. We're not the vessel trying to become holy. But the holy moving through our vessel. Once the claim of ownership is gone, your claim over you are something. Remember our streams on We Are Nothing? And it is important to understand that the mind does not always become silent in a dramatic way. It often becomes quieter by losing urgency. Thought changes in texture and volume. It becomes less personal, less commanding, less clinging when we know that we are helpless, helpless, helpless. It may still arise, but it no longer has the same gravitational pull, my dears. It becomes more like a cinematic drift in the background, more felt than narrated. Hello, Micah. You notice it, but you do not live inside it. The self becomes more obvious than the commentary. Let me keep going. This is the mercy hidden inside exhaustion. So you're exhausted? Yeah. You know, the first thing that gets exhausted, it's not your body, it's your mind. That's the first thing that gets exhausted. The exhaustion removes the one who is trying to get somewhere. And when that one, the exhaustion removes the one who was trying to get somewhere. Figure it out on your own, right? Drain your batteries. And when that one disappears, when that controller, our false controller, disappears, even for a moment, the self reveals itself. Even for a moment, we can get the friggin' out of the way. Get out of the way of the way. Get out of the way of your own way. Not because you've earned it, my dears, but because you stopped interfering with it. God is God, and that's going to not change. Spirit is you, and that's not going to change. What can change is you. Not because you earned it, but because you stopped interfering with it. Not because you achieved the highest practice, but because you reached the end of self reliance. And you know what Emerson said? Self reliance, this is the quote, self reliance is total dependence on God. Quote, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Self reliance. He did a whole essay on self reliance, and he says it's total dependence on God. Let's just get it's almost, yeah, we're almost there. And we've read this whole thing, and it will be on tape. You can listen over and over and over again until you finally surrender your doership. Hand over the keys to your car to a designated driver called your soul. It's not because you achieved the practice, but because you reach the end of self reliance, my dears. That's when it starts to get really fun. This is why this stage is so sacred, this stage of helplessness, so misunderstood and not advertised. It looks like helplessness, but it is actually the beginning of true power, Micah and Narayan, Lisa and Jim. Boy, we're so lucky to be listening to these words, regardless of whether we understand it or not, regardless of what we're going to do next. No, ask God what you're going to do next. Don't dare move from your chair after this without asking God to help you out of the chair, for starters, okay? We're almost there with this reading. This is why this stage is so sacred. It looks like helplessness, but it is actually the beginning of true power, the power that was never personal. You know, those four agreements, stop taking things personally. Dang, we're just draining our fuel, our batteries, our mental capacities every time we keep trying to figure out this conundrum, this puzzle of life. It's in God's hands, not ours. The power that was never personal, the power that does not come and go with mood or discipline or your spiritual practice. If you're thinking in terms of it's you doing the practice, the power of God within you. The power does not come and go with mood or discipline. The power of God within you, not as belief, but as being. That's where it comes from. The path begins with effort, no doubt, because the vessel is addicted to grasping. You know, like people say, well, what's the technique that I need to learn? Really? Well, tell me what the technique, tell me the technique. They just grasp. Isn't there something I need to be doing? No, no. It's what you don't do. That's important now. This is the new age, the 5D, HD, New Earth consciousness. Let me just end. I'm almost there, my dears. The path begins with effort because the vessel is addicted to grasping, but the path ends in grace because only grace can reveal what effort was never meant to produce. Gotta admit, man, woman, yeah. And when the self reveals itself, it is not a new attainment. It is what has been here the whole time. Lifetimes. Since God splumed you out from his infinite consciousness into an immortal soul. You've always, it's what has been here it will reveal itself, not as a new attainment, but that it has been here the whole time, waiting for the false doer to fall silent. All right, I rest my case. Huh? Thank you for coming. Aren't you glad you came, Micah? Yeah, yeah. This was meant for you and me and Sarah and Lisa. I do believe. I mean, you've had been to some of these streams, if not many of these streams. And does this kind of open up a door like crazy? Sarah, you don't have to worry anymore. You don't have to figure out a thing anymore, dear. No, you just grab the hand, the invisible hand, the divine one that's invisible with you, that's in you, as you, and you ask for help. And the littlest things, like getting up from this chair, Lynn Adams, and walking to the next destination that you have, whose destination is it? Is it you going to go and do you today after listening to this? If you get tempted to go your own way today, you better call me. Yeah, you better give me a shout out or call one of your soul rebel friends. All right, my dears. Well, let's rub our palms together because we had quite a little chat there. But I have to admit, it's the best. It's the best information that has come through in a long, long time for this soul. Yeah, yeah. I couldn't wait to share it with you. I've been holding this for just the right time. So let's do some ohms, Ricardo, and just feel that we're going to seal the deal of our understanding as best as we can understand it this morning. Inhale. Om. Let's go another one for good measure. This one will seal the deal completely. But that's so intimate, you know? It's so intimate with you and God. This is not between anyone else. No one needs to know. Remember, we're forgetting what we know now. We're helpless in every detail of our life. Inhale the breath. Oh. All right, we see if anyone has something to say, let's just put our God glasses on, my dears, because this is truly, truly, truly an awakening we're having together. Can you believe this? So we love and we care, right? And we totally just let it rip. We just let all the good juju just come in, let the vessel experience it, and then share the message, dears. Share it, but don't use words. Just be the truth of you, okay? How is that? All right. Now I'm going to open up my hearing and see if anybody wants to share something on this amazing morning, Cami. How was that for you? How was this for you, Cami, darling? Was it okay? You got to undo your mute button. Yeah, it's still muted there. It's okay. We hear you. We hear you even though we don't hear you. Ricardo, how was this? How was this for your soul adventure this morning?
I've got to tell you, this has been the best year, and today really hit the spot because I feel like letting go and getting back into my practice has really just brought back my spirituality, and I have to thank you because these mornings have been so helpful,
Right.
and getting me right back on the right path to just do what I know I need to do to make life work. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Let it go, man.
Let it go, man. Get out of the way of the way, we say. Yeah, get out of the way of your own way. That's beautiful, brother. Yeah, and that practice just warms you up for you realizing that you can't do it on your own, right? This is kind of the message this morning. So I would, if I were you, and I am, I would ask for help on every little detail of your becoming now. You and the beloved, you and the source are like besties, besties. Yeah. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you sharing. Yeah. Micah, do you have anything?
I mean, I am appreciating you so much and
Hmm,
just like what you share with us every morning, it feels super special to be a part of this and um I don't know, it feels really intense. My life feels so incredibly intense.
right.
The external almost feels violent. That's a strong word, but and this is like a little refuge. So thank you.
Nice. That's why that's in your life right now. That really intense what you're going through is in your life because look, you found this. You're here this morning. You're getting some help. You're getting some help. And so, yeah, that's exactly, I mean, if you can look at it that way, that this is just absolutely whatever you're going through is just made in the shade for you for coming into like what Ricardo was saying, back to his self, back into,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway,
I loved what you said about something about like don't even get out of the chair without asking God what's your next move.
I'm just talking to myself.
I mean, it feels really there's something super comforting about just
Yeah,
especially what's going on in my life. It's just like, yeah, just surrender
yeah, yeah, yeah.
because I can't control any of it, you know?
Woo! Magical words, magical world. That's what it, that what we just did this morning was a little exercise in dropping the old knowing of anything.
Hmm.
Surrendering that, there's this force that is going to be here for you in ways now that we couldn't experience if we're caught up in the drama and the trauma, right? Which is easy to do, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for sharing. I think we all get you. We get you, Micah. I think we're all in the
Thank,
absolute
thank
same.
you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for coming. What's that, 1977? What is that?
Yeah.
That's so cool because it's almost my license plate because I had to get organized license plate recently. I got two sevens in my
Oh,
license.
nice.
Yeah. So it linked us together.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. That's sweet. Thank you so much for being here. We love you so much, Micah, and we're happy that you're here.
Hmm.
Yep, it's refuge for
Thank
all.
you.
It's refuge for all of us. Sarah, do you have anything to say? Lynn, do you have anything? Lisa, Jim,
I'm completely content. Thank
muy contento,
Muy contento, señor.
señorita.
Mm.
That's so cool. Yeah, thank you. That's rubbing off on us. It's
Thank
rubbing off on us. Your contentment. Thank you so much. We all hold a little something special for ourselves. That's the self that is not the doer self, the
Mm.
me doing something self, but the self that is the one that is behind everything and us. And so we're just going to think of you today in the contento, muy contento, señorita. Okay. All right. So we're good to go, everyone. Yeah, Cami G doesn't have her thing on. So do you have a thought?
I do now.
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm speechless.
Speak.
Uh, that was very deep and really called to me today. And, I took a really long break from my spiritual practice, probably like 10 years. It just wasn't healthy for me at the time.
Yeah,
No one liked it.
yeah,
So just this. getting back up on the horse and, sitting with you all these months has just been so life changing. And the last month I've been a little quiet on here just because I've been kind of going through it and just really trying to see what the next move is. And I just can't even, I'm speechless. Like, so, I mean, I have it tattooed on my hands, breathe grace, so that I can do it, and I still can't do it, like, uh, uh, I give up. And like, okay, the giving up is
Right.
the way to God. So that is just like,
Wow.
I'm just speechless. And I did have one question because I started to write this down and I really wanted to know the answer. Waiting for the false doer or something at the very last line of that. I want to
Yeah,
know the answer.
waiting for the false doer to fall.
Oh, to
Mm,
fall.
to fall. That we're done. We're done fooling ourselves. And we're gonna let the fool itself. It's not part of us anymore. We fall.
Okay, falling.
Yeah. Free falling. Free falling. Yeah. So perfect. Thank you for sharing. That was big. That was huge.
Mm.
Big breath, everyone. Big breath. And sigh it out like
Ah,
just fall. Just fall from the false you. Inhale, big breath, and sigh it out. Good riddance. Good riddance. Holy collapse. Inhale once more and sigh it out. We're not afraid to collapse the old and then relax in the new. All right. Thank you. Perfect. Love you all.
Namaste.
Namaste. Awesome.
Gratitude.
Blessings, dears. Muy, muy, muy blessings. Wow.